Today is stage 2 of installing a new golf shaft. In the previous stage we had pulled this graphite blue from the G5 head. We were able to save the ferrule. We torched it pretty quickly and it did not really mar the ferrule, so I might as well just pull it off. It'll save us a step or buying a new ferrule, do it the cheap way. So that's pretty much done with that guy. Next thing to do is to get your new shaft. Here we have a graphite Epic we're going to throw in, and we're going to tip it. I went online and checked the tipping instructions for the graphite Epic. They say it's a half-inch tip for a blind bore or an inch and a quarter for a standard bore. And we know it's not a bore through because there's no hole in the bottom, of course. And if it was a standard bore, it would only, the hole in the head would really only come down to here, which, as you can tell by this nail, it goes into the head quite a ways. So we're just going to go with a blind bore tipping instruction, which is half-inch. So what I'm going to do is take some masking tape, wrap it around the shaft here so it does not splinter when you cut it, and I just grab a hacksaw. These are just common household items. So I'm just going to cut through it real quickly here. Those Epics are pretty hard there.
Keep it down.
You put a little bit of, I think they've got a little bit of steel in them, so it's a little harder to cut than a standard graphite. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the masking tape here. Okay.
I want to sit on the counter just like you. Sit on the counter just like you.
Okay, so we're good to go here. This shaft actually came with instructions. They say to take 150 grit. I've actually already done it, prepped it out so it gets shiny, I guess, when they say you've taken the clear coat off. Can't quite. And we're going to take 150 grit, 150 grit sandpaper, and they say to just do circles on it so it gets a good grip. This is not normal for most shafts. Most of them won't have instructions with them, of course. But this is the first time I've ever put in an Epic. Okay, so we're good there. And they also say to take some acetone fingernail polish remover and wipe it on the tip to clean up any remnants. So wipe it up on there, and they say let it air dry. So we're done with the shaft. It's pretty much good to go. And what we had done, we saved the ferrule last time, so I'm just going to set it on there so later on in the process I don't forget. So shaft's good to go. Now we're ready to clean up the head. It still has dried up epoxy in there we got to clean up. So what we're going to do here is I'm just going to start with a regular blade and cut off some of the old ferrule on the inside. You want to do that so the new epoxy can get around in that coned area so you don't have any sharp edges touching the shaft. That's when you'll have some problems. Okay. Now what I did here is I took some 150 grit sandpaper. You can take 80 grit or 60 grit or whatever, and I just wrapped it around a drill bit and taped it. This is going to be the way I'm going to take out some of this dried epoxy. So we'll see how it works. if you take a look in there, you can see if you have any dried epoxy, it actually looks pretty good. Sometimes what I do is I'll just take this acetone in a Q-tip and just load it up and just go in there just to clean it up so it gets a good bond. And just let it air dry. But the main thing is the coned area right on the inside is nice and curved, so we don't have any sharp edges. So the head is prepped. So shaft's prepped, head's prepped. Now we're ready to mix our epoxy, just a 1-1 mix. Just take it, mix it together, pretty simple, nothing crazy.
Mom, I got this from the dentist.
Okay, so easiest thing I do is I'll usually put a little bit in the head. So we're good there. Now we're just going to take the shaft. It's been prepped, acetoned, and just throw a layer on it too real quick.
Dad?
Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to take the two and just slide them in. And have a couple rags on hand. This gets a little bit messy. But it's not too bad. I usually twist it as I'm going in just so I coat all the places with epoxy. A little epoxy buildup there. So I usually just take a rag. I usually just lay it, get some spit on it.
Mom.
And it's all cleaned up, so what you do is you just take it, line up your logo,
Just draw it out.
and you can just set it somewhere to set, you know, at a natural angle. And you're done. That's it. Piece of cake.